Welcome students once again to this part 2 of the poem The Laburnum Top. In the first part, if you have seen it, I explained you up to this that there was a laburnum tree which was completely silent, no movement was going on over there, and one day there came a goldfinch bird, and the silence of the tree was broken with the arrival of the goldfinch bird, because the baby goldfinch, they started chirping. The mother was also making twitching sound, chittering sound. The babies were also chirping when they saw their mother, and thus there was you can say a lot of movement on the tree at that time when the goldfinch bird arrived there. And then what the goldfinch did, at first she came and sat on one branch of the tree. That time it could be seen, the bird could be seen. Then the bird, very swiftly, her movement has been compared with the movement of a lizard. Very swiftly she entered the thickness of the tree. Now she could not be seen anymore. Understood? If any person if anyone was watching the tree at that time, that person would not be able to see, was not able to see the bird at that time, because the bird had entered the thickness. The bird was only moving inside the tree. It was feeding its young ones. The young birds were hungry. They were making chirping sound. Now what the poet says, of chitterings and a tremor of wings and trillings, the whole tree trembles and thrills. The whole tree was trembling and moving. Now this particular line, tree trembles and thrills, all the initial sounds are same. The sound T is there. So this is an example of the figure of speech alliteration. In the previous line, chitterings and trillings, chittering and trillings. The sound is chittering, the word is chittering. So these two words are example of, once again, the figure of speech onomatopoeia. Okay? It is the engine of her family. She stokes it full. Stokes means she, just as an engine needs to be given fuel if we want the engine to run, in the same manner the goldfinch was feeding its young ones for their survival, so that they can continue making noise and movement. She fed, she stokes it full in the sense of she fed her babies completely, fully, and then flirts out to a branch end. After feeding her babies, after satisfying their hunger, she came out of the thickness of the tree. Okay? The goldfinch, she came out of the thickness of the tree, and she went to a branch end. She was once again sitting at a branch end. Again the bird could be seen, now that she had come out of the thickness of the tree, showing her bird face identity mask. Now this bird face is an example of the figure of speech transferred epithet. What is the reason? Transferred epithet is a figure of speech in which, when we are talking about something, we are trying to refer to a particular person or event or thing, but we are referring to something else. That is why it is an example of a transferred epithet. Now what is this bird face? Why it has been called as a bird face identity mask? Were there bar marks on the face of the goldfinch? No. What happened? When the goldfinch was sitting at a branch end, there were leaves and flowers in front of its face, and it formed a shadow. Those shadows were falling on its face, and it seemed that there were birds marked like bars on his face. Understood? It was sitting, the goldfinch, it was sitting over there at a branch end, and while sitting over there at the branch end, this shadow of the leaves and the branches, those were falling on his face, on its face, and thus it appeared as if she had bar marks on her face. That is why it has been referred to as the bird face, because it was sitting behind the flowers. Then with eerie, delicate whistle chirrup whisperings, after coming out of the branch, after coming out of the tree, the goldfinch made a noise, a eerie, something very unnatural, eerie in the sense of a very typical, unnatural kind of a whistle it gave. She launches away towards the infinite. Infinite here refers to the sky. The goldfinch flew away towards the sky, and the laburnum subsides to empty, and the laburnum tree once again became silent and was empty, because the goldfinch had left the laburnum tree. Okay, student, hope you have understood. So this is the end of the poem.